You can take all the knowledge that you have in life, and when you pass away, nobody gets it. Why wouldn't I want to give it to someone else? What am I going to do with it? And if I live to be old enough to be elderly, I'm sitting in at the chair at the house and nobody knows what I know. Now, there's a lot of people out there doing what I do as far as building precision rifles and so forth. I don't think there's anybody teaching a classes at the level of precision and in depth that I teach, but I want to give that to somebody. I want to teach somebody. Somebody taught me, and then I took it and then I expanded upon it. When I teach somebody else, I want them to take it, I want them to expand on it. So I met Scott last year. Scott wanted to come to the class. He's an accomplished shooter, also Air Marshal, prior Marine, and I believe he was a trained marksman / sniper in the Marine Corps. And he was wanting to come to the class, and I was really excited to have Scott in the class. I've come to be a pretty good friend with Scott. I think he's a solid guy and he's pretty knowledgeable. So coming to this class actually was pretty enjoyable for me. I wanted to see Scott come in here and run through the class.
Don is, in my opinion, he's old school badass. He's military special forces from back in the day. He's veteran police officer, mayor, and now he's master gun builder. He's covered a wide gamut, and he just has the ability to communicate and relate with people and to be able to pass these things on. When you're here, Don's giving you all the information that you need. He's giving it to you in a way that you can relate in a relaxing environment. So once you get out on the range, you're able to get out and you're able to start getting hits. During that time, he's talking about better. He's talking about you can go further, you can get more accurate, you can get those groups tighter. So he's inspiring you to push yourself to the next level, which is what every great course, every great shooting school, academy or anything is designed to do. It's designed to take your people that come in and send them out better, send them out more knowledgeable and better equipped, and that's exactly what he did here.
All right, we're going to do a little review here, and we're going to go over some things that stumped a few people. Maybe yesterday, not stumped them, but a few things that got a little confused on. Two of them is mills and MOAs, and then we'll go over calculating MOAs because we had a few people get a little stumped on it yesterday. Did you guys read this part of it? The books that you got? It's actually reading and learning a little bit. It's kind of an important part. This is a 1,000 yard class teaching 1,000 yard shooting with rifles that is more than just a basic class. It starts with the basic fundamentals of the loaded round, the rifle, the performance, and so forth. And then as we get into the 4-day class, it becomes a very in-depth, intermediate to higher level of shooting that actually starts applying ballistic coefficients, arc of flights, time of flights. And we start ranging, beginning at 100 yards, getting a 0 on each rifle from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 500 yards. And then hopefully by that time, the student in day 2 and 3 has learned enough of the fundamentals that they can do their own calculation based on the ballistics chart that we have printed for them. And hopefully by late day 2 and definitely day 3, they can calculate on their own going from 500 to 750 and then from 750 to 1,000.
Been through other military sniper schools. I've been through Army, Marine, a couple law enforcement, and then some other just shooting courses. But this is by far the most in-depth and technical course I've attended yet. Other courses, we went out to long ranges as well, but I was always given some type of high-dollar rifle that was already calibrated, it was already tested. It wasn't something that I had to bring on my own. It wasn't something that I had to put through the paces on my own. It was something that the government had already bought and was already testing. And so this made this even more of a challenge going through this course.
If you remember yesterday also, we talked about the arc of the flight and the reason that we did a chronograph on everybody's load was that we actually knew what it was and the ballistic coefficient. So I print you this chart, and what the box says or what you read out of the manual all of a sudden is not real close to, I mean, it's close probably within 100, 150 feet, maybe feet per second of what is actually going on with you at the range. And I think it was, you're shooting 130s. 140s. What were you shooting, 130s? And there was a difference in the drop. Both of them are 6.5s. Right, yours is a 260, but it's a 6.5 bullet, and so is yours. And just that little bit of weight difference, and then the velocity difference. His was faster, yours was slower, but yours was heavier and lighter. But the drastic amount of change in that arc of the flight made a big difference in where the two of you guys zeroed. It's all about that ballistics flight of the bullet and the arc of that flight, where that round's going to land. One of the things I believe, and I seriously believe this, and it's not being braggadocious, I think we teach the most comprehensive class on 1,000-yard shooting that anybody can attend. It's not a show up and we're going to coach you till you hit a few rounds at 1,000 or whatever, or I don't believe that anybody is teaching all the applied ballistics that I teach. And we do it for 4 half days, a half day in the morning, and then a half day on the range applying what we've learned, and we go through it. It's not, okay guys, here's what we're going to do, give you a little bit of a lecture, here's what happens when you shoot, and go out there and for the next 2 or 3 days you shoot till you hit a piece of steel. We're actually wanting them to learn and understand the fundamentals. And not only that, we teach them what makes a rifle accurate. What is an accurate rifle? And is accurate hunting, and you're shooting 6 inches, which is good for deer or elk or antelope or whatever? Or is it a precision rifle that's shooting down in the fractions of an inch, like the bench rest shooters? And I always tell everyone that it's specifically applied to what you're doing. It's application specific. If I'm hitting a piece of steel, I'm not taking that rifle and probably going to a bench rest shoot with it. It's application specific. So I want them to understand, my rifle's not shooting. Okay, we went through barrel wear and barrel cracking and throat erosion and all those factors that I can correct, and now my rifle shoots. I want them to know that also.
Compared to a lot of other courses and stuff that I had been to, you were always in a more stringent time constraints. You were in a tougher, let's say tougher training regimen, where here he created a relaxed atmosphere to where we could take in the overwhelming volume of information that he gave us during the class time. A lot of other places I've been, we haven't covered these things, and these are all questions I had, you know, so I would have to study on my own. I'd have to look up articles on the internet. I'd have to find books on ballistics. I'd have to talk to other people at ranges to find some of these answers, and he had all of them. Every question we asked, he was zipping right through them.
Okay.
So now I hold on the...
Hold where you were aiming.
Hold where I was aiming, and you're going to crank it up to the...
And tell me when it gets to those 2 bullet holes. I limit the class to 10. We had 10 2 of them had to drop out because of there were conflicts arose with their work schedules. But I don't want more than 10 because I need that one-on-one time. I need for them to learn this and get it. This is not a pass-fail, and I'm going to make it so hard that only the very best of the best make it. In 4 days, for someone who has never shot long range at all, to hit a 10-inch round steel plate at 1,000 yards is a pretty good accomplishment.
Okay.
We'll fire a shot, take another. 6 o'clock. The vertical line at the bottom, 6 o'clock.
On the hanging man?
About halfway up that orange vertical line.
So 4 days, it's a lot of information in 4 days for us to go through. For some of the people that aren't as up on ballistics, it may be, it will be even more overwhelming, maybe, but I can't really say because he explains it so well that you didn't have to have a lot of this information prior to.
Far right, and then the left one on the far right.
I see, okay. Got one hole in it, gotcha.
Yep.
Want me to hold 6 o'clock or dead center?
Hold dead center, let's see.
Okay.
You didn't have to know ballistic coefficient because he explained it so thoroughly. You didn't have to know about drops and all these different formulas because he covered them. So a lot of the information that we went through I had before, and he's just explaining it in a different way. But then every time he would finish a subject, I would have a question, and it was almost like we were linked, and my question that I was going through my mind, I was getting ready to raise my hand and ask him, and he would go a little bit further into his explanation, and he would explain it.
The second little one, if you'll hold that center mass.
Is that your bullseye at 500 now?
And that's all the way down. So hit it there once.
I'll try it.
And he did that probably 20 times, where I'm like, okay, this A equals B, but what about C?
What about you?
So now come back here and look at this one.
Come up a hair bit to the right with the hair.
Okay.
See, it's not looking down so hard.
Gotcha.
He would cover all these different things, and it was almost like he knew the questions I was going to ask before I asked them.
Plus you got it real high, it exaggerates it. The higher you are, now it's already above the bore. Plus you got a 20 MOA on it, and it's making it look way too far down.
He's been doing this long enough that he knows that these are going to be the follow-on questions. So to me, it's a miraculous event that he knew this, but to him, this is old school ballistics 101.
Okay.
I mean, you're like
I'll see if I can hit 500 a few more times,
Sure.
and then I'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, guys. I can't do 2 at once. In the dirt. He's 6 o'clock right inside the ring.
All right, we got another 1,000-yard hitter, guys. All right, that looks, what's that, about 9 o'clock? We try to put all our students in 2-man teams, one firing, one spotting, and helping them spot their hits on the target. So I try to pair them a little bit with somebody that's got a pretty good understanding and maybe somebody that's a beginner. And if I've got several people that are just good solid people, I'll put them together. They can coach each other still. Scott's very experienced, been in the Marine Corps, he's squared away, he's a solid guy. And I wanted him paired with this young man who really hadn't done this before. Hasn't done anything but just shoot rifles around the house.
So he teamed me up with Cam, and Cam is an 18-year-old young man. He's getting ready to go off and join the Marine Corps, and he's interested in precision shooting. So he is definitely interested in attending Scout Sniper School. Well, since I went through Scout Sniper School when I was in, it was a an automatic match. We got a chance to spend a lot of time talking about what modern teams do. So as we're going through, he's learning ballistics. We were able to go through certain things like the dialogue that goes back and forth between a spotter and a shooter, and how you communicate with each other as you're operating as a sniper team in the military or law enforcement and things like that. So those little things that you're having to learn in the middle of a stressful school like that, he's already going to have a little bit of prior knowledge to. We're able to kind of get him grounded. So when he goes through there and he eventually tries out for those schools, he's going to have a much better base to build off of.
So I try to do it by their level of experience and what I think their level of performance might be, and then I try to pair them up. And I never put two people that have no idea together, because it's not a good recipe for success.
This course was a small group. We only had 10 people. So we were all hanging out together for the whole 4-day course. We were eating lunch together, we were eating dinner together. You get to know everyone and you get to talk to them about their experiences and their background. But the biggest thing is we're all linked with the same passion. We're all linked with trying to be able to make these shots, trying to be able to find that precision and that excellence. And we got to hang out, and you make friends and you make acquaintances, and then on top of that you make contacts for later on. You know, we got to meet people who write articles on precision rifle, the magazine editors, to construction and electrical, to automotive. It was really the full gamut here, so you get to meet a lot of interesting people. If you're thinking about taking this class, don't think about it, take it. Because you're going to get so much information out of it, and you're going to walk away with more experience than if you had been to 5 or a dozen other classes, because they don't go into the depth. A lot of instructors in other classes, they're good shooters, or they may be good at working on guns or something like that, but very few are both. So just like we'd be up there and we'd be talking about these complex theories on bullet deflection or drop or Coriolis effect or Magnus effect or all these different things. And then in between classes, he'd be over on the bench fixing someone's gun so that way they could get on the range and they could get up and they could be more accurate. He didn't have to do that, but he was doing that because he wants his students to succeed. He wants the people that he teaches, he wants them to be able to get out there and do that. And if they have an imperfection in their rifle, or if they have a less than stellar piece, he's taking care of it for them to get them to where he wants them. And I've never seen a class that has shot 1,000 yards have 100%. And he said from day one that we're going to get 100%. And I was skeptical, because that is a benchmark. That is a very hard thing to do.
I have a passion for long-range shooting and precision. I have a silly little saying that you've probably heard many times: if it's easy, everybody be doing it. I'm looking for that real high-end precision. It's difficult, and I have a passion for precisions. I don't do any general gunsmithing whatsoever, and the local shops around here send me stuff all the time, and I respectfully apologize to them and tell them I don't do it, but I'm not looking to work on somebody's shotgun. I have a passion for precision, and I have a passion for firearms, and I only specialize in 2 types of firearms: precision rifles and precision handguns. The only 2 things I do. I can't tell you about an HK pistol or probably an HK rifle. You know, I know fundamentally how they're supposed to work and so forth, but it's not what I do. I'm in a very narrow lane.